Welcome to my channel, I'm Gary Wiryawan, and today we're doing our first photography Q&A. Let's go! Before we continue with this video, this is just a quick reminder for you to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, and subscribing to my channel down below. Thank you, and let's continue with the video. So this video is a photography Q&A where I'm answering some of your questions in the comments on some of my videos. If you have any more questions that you want to ask for the next Q&A, please write them down on the comment section down below. So let's start with our first question.
Ed Sombra asked, is this the camera called G80 in Europe? How would you describe the batteries? How much time do you get out of them? How is the grip? Is it like Sony Alpha 6000 series or is it something more similar to Nikon? Thanks for the video.
So yes, that's a comment in my video about the Panasonic G85, and yes, the camera is called G80 in Europe. So regarding the questions about batteries, I can comfortably shoot for about 5 to 7 hours on and off with about 400 pictures total with the G85 on a single battery charge. And for video in 1080p, it will last about 2 to 3 hours at most. And the grip on my Panasonic G85 is more similar to a small DSLR like Nikon as opposed to like Sony Alpha 6000. It is grippy, it is beefy, but not as big as a normal DSLR. Overall, I really think that the Panasonic G85 is a good choice for both still photography and for video. And if you want to learn more about the Panasonic G85, I made a review video about it and I will put the link on the description down below. Let's continue with the next question.
ScrattleGG asked, what did you use to capture the spider? Would love if you start adding lens names and microtube names if you're using it when showing an image. Maybe even the settings used.
Alright, thank you ScrattleGG for your suggestion. I will make sure that on my next videos, I will put the settings of the camera as well as the lens names on every image that I show. So this comment is on my Olympus 75mm video, and on that picture that he said, I'm actually not using a macro tube, but I'm using a screw-on macro adapter that screws directly into the lens. It has a 58mm diameter so that you can screw it on directly to any 58mm filter thread lens. However, I don't think that the image quality is good, so I don't really recommend you to use this macro screw-on adapter. If you are going to do some serious macro photography, then I suggest you to invest in some kind of macro tubes or real macro lenses, not this one. This is just for fun and I don't really do macro photography that much anyway. Speaking of the spider picture, it was taken using the Olympus 75mm with the macro adapter that I just talked about, with my already sold Panasonic GX7 with off-camera flash above the spider to lead the spider to make it look sharp. Setting used, ISO about 200, shutter speed 1/100, and I'm pretty sure that the aperture is f5.6 because I want to get a little bit more depth of field. In macro photography, because the objects are small, even f5.6 will produce shallow depth of field, so I actually prefer more depth of field, maybe at about f8 or f11 when doing macro photography. If you want to learn more about the Olympus 75mm, I made a review video about this lens and I'll put the link on the description below. Also, if you want to learn more about off-camera flash, I have a video about that too, and I will also link it in the description below. Now let's move on with the next question.
Aditya Kusumo commented on my video, nice share, will it be suitable for family event group photo, indoor with tight space?
So this comment is on my video about the Olympus 9 to 18mm, and the answer to that question is yes, the Olympus 9 to 18mm will be able to do group photo in tight space. However, if it's possible for you, I suggest not to zoom out all the way at 9mm. Zoom in just a little bit to about 10 or 11mm to remove a little bit of that distortion. The danger of using wide angle lenses for group photo is that the edges and the corners are a little bit distorted, so that the people on the edges of the frame might get stretched out a little bit, and that is not a good look. So be careful with that. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the Olympus 9 to 18mm, I also made a review video about it and I will link it on the description below. Now let's continue with the next question.
Next question.
NDAJJ5 commented, it's a great lens, great for all situations, awesome all-in-one lens.
So this is a comment in my Panasonic 14 to 140mm video, and it's not actually a question, it's just praising the lens. But I agree completely with all that Andy said in that comment, because the Panasonic 14 to 140 f3.5 to 5.6 is actually an awesome lens.
Awesome!
It's just an excellent lens, especially for travel. And with its super zoom focal length, you'll be able to capture anything that's near or far with just a single lens without changing lens, and it's so convenient and versatile. There's a little bit of compromise in image quality when it comes to the Panasonic 14 to 140. It's not as sharp as the other lenses like the Olympus 75mm or the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7, but it's a super zoom lens, and it's normal for all super zoom lens. In fact, this Panasonic 14 to 140mm is actually sharper than most super zoom lenses. So yeah, versatility wins over the slight reduction in image quality. So anybody who needs a super zoom lens for their micro four thirds camera that can do well in travel photography as well as for general purpose photography or video, then I can really recommend the Panasonic 14 to 140mm f3.5 to f5.6.
Excellent!
So if you want to learn more about this lens, I have a review video about it too, and I will link in the description down below. So let's continue with the next question.
At Chancellor commented, in these days of social distancing, the best choices for street lenses for micro four thirds are the Olympus 300mm Pro or the Lumix Leica 100 to 400mm. The world has changed.
So this is a comment on my 5 best street photography lenses video, and I actually have already replied to his comment. I must really say that there's a lot of truth that's being said in this comment. We can no longer just go out to the public space and do street photography in close range as we like to do back before the COVID-19 days. And yeah, who knows? Actually, maybe it'll be true. Maybe in the future, if COVID-19 isn't gone yet, then maybe we'll use ultra telephoto lenses for street photography. While right now, during this difficult time of COVID-19, you can't really go out to public space and do street photography because you'll be in close contact with so many people. I may say that you can still use street photography lenses such as the Panasonic 20mm or the Panasonic Leica 15mm for general everyday photography. You can use these lenses for product photography, food photography, or just about anything that you can do at home while doing self-quarantine. Anyway, you can check out the 5 best street photography lenses video that I made, mentioning some of the lenses that I usually use for street photography, and I will put the link on the description down below. So now let's continue with the next question.
Ryan Wu commented, I love my MFD system. It's perfectly balanced, the size and quality.
So this is a comment on my 7 favorite micro four thirds lens video, and I agree completely with his comment. Since I've been using micro four thirds gear since 2014, I've stopped looking for another camera system because micro four thirds just suits me really well. The image quality, although will never rival anything like full frame cameras or even APS-C, I really think that micro four thirds is more than good enough for me. It's good enough for prosumer consumers as well as for pro photographers who has some specific needs. However, I don't think that the system is for everyone. You must know the strength and weakness of micro four thirds systems in order to be able to really utilize it to its maximum potential. I really think that micro four thirds really shines when it comes to travel photography because it will offer image quality that is significantly better than your smartphone. But on the other hand, it'll still keep everything small, compact and lightweight so that it doesn't make any trouble when you try to carry it or pack it during travel. So you can learn more about my 7 favorite micro four thirds lenses video, and I will put the link on the description down below. Now let's continue with the next question.
John Miller commented, Panasonic 25mm f1.4 is similar in size to the f1.7. The Olympus 25mm f1.2 is the largest of the 25mm micro four thirds lenses.
So this is another comment in my street photography lenses video. So although I haven't personally tried or used the Panasonic 25mm f1.4, I really think that it's another hidden gem in the micro four thirds lens catalog. I agree with what he said that the Panasonic 25mm f1.4 is not really that big. It's almost comparable to the f1.8 or f1.7 25mm lenses. However, the Olympus 25mm f1.2 is too big for me. I don't see myself using the Olympus 25mm f1.2 when doing street photography. It's not because the lens is bad, it's actually because I don't think you will benefit much from the 25mm f1.2 when you're doing street photography. The benefit of having the f1.2 is that you can get a low light boost and you can increase your shutter speed when you are in lower light. However, the lens is big and it's not low profile at all, so it'll draw so much attention when you're doing street photography, and I don't want to have any of that when I'm doing street photography. I prefer inconspicuous camera gear when doing such photography. Now let's continue with the next question.
Letiak1 commented, people are so quick to dismiss a camera just because it's not the latest model. A skilled photographer can get great shots on almost anything. Just learn how to use your gear and use a good lens. Also, just dismissing this camera as a YouTube vlog camera is just BS. It's so much more than that.
So yeah, this is another comment on my Panasonic G85 video, and I agree completely with what he said on the comments. The Panasonic G85, which is currently recording this video right now, is a great camera not just for YouTube, not just for video, but also for still photography, for most common genres of photography. While I enjoy using the Panasonic G85 for shooting YouTube videos like this, I also enjoy using it for commercial photography when shooting in my office, also for my general purpose photography camera. And I also want to emphasize the importance of a photographer's skill that is being mentioned in the comment. I really agree with what he said. I think all of us photographers need to improve our skills and practice more every day so that we can improve our results when doing our photography. That way, we don't have to depend on the latest and the greatest when it comes to making great picture. Photography is so much more than just a combination of a camera and a lens. It's more about what you think, what you want to get out, what is your message, what you want to express, what is the emotion, what do you want to be able to tell in a single picture. And back to the Panasonic G85, I really think that it's a great camera. It's more than good enough for me. It can make great videos, but more importantly, it can also make great pictures. So that is all for today's video. If you have any more questions that you want to ask, please comment down below any questions about photography. I will try to answer them in the next Q&A video. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, and subscribing to my channel down below. Thank you and goodbye.